It's 5:30, so let's call to order this meeting for Monday, September 16th. Jordan, would you start us off with a roll call, please?
Please respond by stating present. Councilmember Ronayne.
Present.
Foberg.
Present.
Liebelt.
Present.
Ward.
Present.
Johnson.
Present.
Reinbold. Langer.
Present.
Norvstrup.
Present.
Mayor Schoeneman.
Present. Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. First order of business will be to approve this week's agenda. Ron, do we need an amendment to that to allow for the executive session?
No, we can make that as part of the motion.
Sounds great. I'm not aware of any other changes to the agenda, so I would take a motion as printed.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Ward and a second from Councilman Norvstrup. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next, we've got a approval of minutes from our previous meeting, which took place 2 weeks ago on September 3rd, as well as an amendment to include the payroll data, which was not present at that time.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilwoman Liebelt and a second from Councilman Ward. Does anyone have anything to discuss as it relates to these minutes aside from that addition? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We have a guest speaker here tonight for our open forum, and it is Mr. Mike Bockerney from the Development Corporation, or I guess temporarily from the Development Corporation. On your last legs over there as the executive director, as you'll be moving on up. Mike, you're here to talk about IM28. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Appreciate a couple minutes tonight. I will be brief. Just wanted to appear tonight, talk a little bit about IM28, and let you guys know, let everybody know that the Aberdeen Development Corporation, the Chamber, the CVB, many others have taken a position of voting no on IM28 for a couple of reasons. There's, I'm sure, which many of you have probably read, but a lot of unknowns about this. The purpose, the original purpose of the concept is very noble, and we certainly would support that just in a different form or fashion, which we're going to have to try again. But a lot of unknowns around this. It could really, really cause a lot of challenges, a lot of questions on both sides. I think the main thing, and I know this has been talked about, and I think Robin has shared this with you, but it could lead to a potential $2.1 million cut to the city's budget here, or approximately a 10% cut in your sales tax revenue on an annual basis. And I know that you guys are going to pass the budget tonight, and it would sure not be very exciting for all of you and for all of the other folks if you have to revisit this, if this were to pass and make some potential cuts there. It would be very, very challenging. So again, just wanted to let you guys know that that's where our organizations stand. We are going to be pretty active, have joined a coalition of statewide folks to oppose this and encourage people to vote no on it. And the final thing I would ask and just encourage all of you guys is, I know that you've got a potential resolution that you could do as a city council. I would just encourage you to take a hard look at that and think that through thoroughly, and encourage you to pass that resolution encouraging people to vote no on IM28. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them as I'm able, or if you want to move on with the meeting, you want to pose questions to me later via email, tonight, text, tomorrow, whatever, I'm happy to do either way.
Anyone have any questions? Not really a good time for questions, but
I want to clarify something, Mike. I understand where you're coming at with that. The city of Aberdeen, the city council cannot formally come out in opposition to an initiated measure, but they can pass a resolution talking about the impact of that resolution potentially on the city. So any resolution we pass would be educational or informative.
Yep. Yeah, I'm sorry, I misspoke. A number of other cities, I think, have done just that.
That's correct.
Yep.
So, Mike, I guess one of the areas of confusion with this bill that you kind of alluded to was the term consumable goods. The 2.1 million, if I'm not mistaken, is if it were pared down to grocery items only, or things that would be more in line with the grocery taxation that we'll see in surrounding states. Do you have an idea of what consumable goods means? Could it be a much bigger budgetary impact than 2.1 million?
Yeah, so again, I'm not an attorney, never have claimed to be one and never will, because that's out of my league, but listening to a lot of attorneys from across the state that have done that it's really not defined in state law as of right now, and that would be one of the items. If this were to pass, the legislature would have to take a real hard look in the upcoming session and really work to try to define that. Which would be very, very challenging because it would have to be, there'd be a lot of debate, and it's not always easy to come to super duper consensus on that, and then a lot of pieces that you'd have to put into place there would be very, very challenging. So as it stands right now, we are looking at this going, this is far beyond just things that I believe the intent would be, food specific things that we would obviously eat as humans that we need all for nutrients and to survive, et cetera. But the way it stands right now, consumables would be any sort of, could be roped in and have things that are services that we would all pay sales tax on right now. And, the definition of consumable is, obviously up for debate. And that's one of the challenges here. This would be a little cleaner and a little easier if it was phrased differently and it was down just to, sales tax on ingestible food items or something along those lines. We've got capable attorneys up here. I'll leave that in their hands, et
Thank
cetera.
you,
But
Mike. Appreciate that. And so I guess we will take a look at any potential resolutions that would come before us, and hopefully we can come up with something that'll make an impact.
okay, thanks for the opportunity.
Next, we've got our consent calendar where we've got 8 items of routine city business, accepting audited city financial statements. We've got public hearing dates. We've got application for alcohol beverage and a community event permit, as well as a lottery notice. I would take a motion for our consent calendar.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Northstrip and a second from Councilman Ronay. Does anyone from the council have anything on any of these consent calendar items? All right, then all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next, we've got a single item of old business, which is our possible second reading and final adoption of the ordinance 240901, which is our appropriations ordinance, otherwise known as the budget. Robin, anything on that?
Nothing new from our standpoint. I guess Jordan and I stand ready and willing to answer questions if you have anything further to ask beyond what we talked about at the last council meeting.
Some consideration, according to previous discussions, has obviously been the impact of this IM28. If that should potentially pass, it sounds like it wouldn't be implemented till halfway through the year. In terms of where do we stand as it will impact our 2025 budget. If it were to pass, what would our course of action be in terms of making adjustments to this budget?
There are some positions, and Jordan, jump in here where I misspeak, but there are some positions that we're looking at. As an example, fire department, we have 3 additional positions. We need to gear up a number of positions for a new fire station a decade down the road. And so we're gradually filling those. This was 2025 is the year we were going to do that. This type of thing would affect how we schedule those in and how we can implement that. We would be looking at that type of cut. We do have some equipment that we'd be looking at pulling back from the budget. As an example, a motor grader, things that we would use for snow removal, we would end up shifting from a capital cost to probably a higher rental cost, but it would be something that you could absorb at a lower level for that 1 year. And then, there's some obvious things that we would have to do also. On the capital improvement side, you're going to have half on each side. We do have money that's going into water and wastewater treatment out of our special sales tax fund right now. That type of thing would probably be scaled back, so those costs would be paid directly out of the utility, which would result in an increase in your sales or in your user fee on water and wastewater side. So we do have a plan. I think, we can sustain this if need be, but if you have those types of things happen to the budget, you won't be able to provide exactly the same service as you were providing should you have those revenues.
Thank you, Robin. Anyone else from the council have any questions as it relates to this ordinance or the budget as a whole?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilwoman?
the Aberdeen Police Department also posted, I believe, that there's a plan for a mental health officer. Could we hear more about that, and is that in the budget this year?
The mental health officer is in the budget for this coming year. Some of the funding for that particular position is from the opioid settlement. And so we would look at utilizing that fund for a couple years at least to try to fund that and let the budget catch up to having that. But there's a need within the department for certain. Chief, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, certainly. It's a good question. Over the last several years, we've noticed an increase of calls for service relating to mental health. And so mental health and addiction and illegal substance use and the opioid situation has really, been something that we've dealt with pretty predominantly over the last many years. So what we're looking at doing is taking this opioid settlement fund and been able to kind of put together a position that not only can deal with people in the acute phases of what they're dealing with, but able to partner with our local agencies to kind of stand up a better resource, almost casework and tracking and stabilization and just bringing better outcomes and making the encounter with police a lot less dangerous. The connectivity to those people that are in crisis with their families and the resources and the intervention. There's so many components to this. I'm really excited about it. And with that settlement fund being something that we'd be able to use, it looks like that this project could come to fruition. So,
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
can I ask a little bit more about what kind of background would this person have? Is it more like behavioral health? Are they going to be are they going to be called in when there's a call and somebody needs to be, is in an acute phase to help I guess lower the tension in the situation, or what does it look like, I guess?
yeah, so it'd be a trained police officer, a certified police officer, and a lot of times when we're called, we're there to kind of stabilize and calm things down and de-escalate. So first and foremost, on some of those immediate calls for service, that's what we'd be looking at doing. And then we would actually have the time to spend to continue meeting with that person and their family to try to help connect resources and have plans for the next day and the following day and the week, and have those connections with those mental health therapists and counselors to be able to do follow-up and encourage and just a wide variety of things that we would try to help that person with. And again, the main thing is just having that constant contact to see that we don't fall back into something that's dangerous or detrimental. So
Thank you.
yeah.
All right, if there's no further questions. Oh, yeah, let's, I don't believe we've got a motion yet. I haven't indicated one on my sheet, so if someone were so inclined to make a motion for our second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilman Fulberg, second from Councilman Northrup. Is there any further discussion to be had on this issue? All right, Jordan, would you give us a roll call vote then, please?
Councilmember Ronayne,
Aye.
Foberg,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Norvstrup,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Moving along to new business, we've got a public hearing and possible approval of a resolution titled 240901, which approves our capital improvement plan. Robin, what can you tell us about that?
Well, this is the public hearing, and I guess I don't know if there's anybody here that wants to speak to that, but as a presentation, we did talk about this a few times and some of the projects that we have coming up. I didn't bring the file with me to tell you specifically which projects, but you have seen this a couple times with, you know, your wastewater project probably being the largest share of that capital improvement side of things for this coming year. We also have the potential of the Public Works facility being added into that once we find a location for that. Other than that, it's more of the routine business, the types of things we do every year. Your concrete work, your street work, so.
Thank you for the explanation. I take a motion for our capital improvement plan.
Move to approve.
Second. Motion Johnson, second Ward. Any questions for Robin as it relates to any of these particular projects or broader thoughts on the topic of our capital improvement plan? All right, sounds good. Like Robin had mentioned, we'd all had several opportunities to digest this information. Jordan, would you give us a roll call?
Councilmember Norpstrup,
Aye.
Langer, Councilmember Langer,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Foberg,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, we've got our public hearing and possible approval of a transfer of the Lafayette Casino LLC's retail on sale or on off sale malt beverage wine license and got ahead of myself here a little bit. Only to item B. So excited about that transfer. Next, we've got our possible approval of the resolution 240902, which approves the allocation of the promotional fund dollars to various community organizations. Obviously, we all submitted our numbers to that. They were averaged out, and Robin made a couple of minor adjustments. Robin, what can you tell us about those adjustments?
The minor adjustments really allows you to allocate the full amount. Going with the median, I think it was 31,000 below the actual allocation that we were shooting for. So we were able to add to a few of those funds, some that have been held at the same amount for a number of years. And so we did suggest those tweaks to make sure that we're utilizing that full amount. It was Jordan's desire not to add more to the reserves for this fund at this point. We've got some money in reserves so that we've got money to work through the early part of the year. But as it stands right now, the 1.3 million is what we're asking to allocate.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilwoman Liebelt and a second from Councilman Johnson. Any questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
if it's appropriate, would it make sense for the city manager to talk about, for Robin to talk about, how some of the things that we do as a city don't necessarily make money, and that, taxes and matter, and, that the extra allocations to things like the dome, and Storybook Land projects are things that are important for our community, but, they cost money.
Yeah, well, Mr. Hoven is not here to discuss some of the things, but the allocation is as an example to Storybook Land. That's really a partnership with the Sertoma Club. They do an awful lot of fundraising for the city, and a couple of years ago, and Jordan, correct me, but a couple of years ago, I believe that was being asked for by the Sertoma Club, and that was changed to where Parks was making that request. So this is kind of that particular one was a commitment between Parks and the Sertoma Club to work together in a partnership. So we did tweak that one to make sure that got up to an allocation that we felt was meeting our commitment to them as well. Yes, every one of these projects, keeping the Dome and the Strode Center going and having programming going through those facilities is, it's not a cost-free venture, and it's great to have those opportunities at those facilities, but it does cost some. So having that additional 50,000 for the dome is going to be helpful in just covering some of the costs, and actually will allow parks to do some promotional efforts to bring more things into that for those wintertime activities, which is what the intent of the promotional fund is. So
I think speaking more truly to the intent of the promotional fund, the Dome in particular had a number of tournaments last year that brought in people from outside of town. In fact, the baseball tournament brought in people from 7 different states in Canada, so a remarkable success, filled up our hotel rooms, which is ultimately the purpose of the thing. I think Storybook Land pays for itself time and time again through promotional fund visitors that are ultimately spending that third penny in sales tax. So both of those, I think, are probably pretty good, true to course investments of this money to their intent. Did that get you?
Yep, that's great. Thanks.
All right. Anything else before we take this vote? Jordan, would you give us a roll call on that then, please?
Councilmember Ronayne.
Aye.
Fauberg.
Aye.
Liebelt.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Nordstrup.
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, we've got that public hearing and possible approval of the transfer of the Lafayette Casinos retail malt beverage and wine license, which comes with the South Dakota video license, which is currently located at 3015 6th Avenue, Suite number 1, and it will be relocated, if approved, to 1923 6th Avenue Southeast.
Move to approve.
Second. Got a motion from Councilman Liebelt and a second from Councilman Ward. I see that we got a couple people in the audience on this topic. Do you have anything you'd like to share, or we'll just, anyone from the council? All right. Jordan, would you give us a roll call vote? All right, I guess we don't need that. We'll just take the voice vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And
Thanks
may
for-
the record reflect that I've abstained.
Motion does carry with one abstention, being Councilman Ronayne. Thanks for joining us, gentlemen. Next, we've got a possible acceptance or rejection of a high bid on surplus real property. And here to talk about that is our city attorney, Ron Wager. Ron?
Thank you, Mayor. Council members, this is the surplus real property that we had discussed about a month ago. And we are now moving forward with having advertised for bids and have received a bid. And before you entertain either acceptance or rejection of that bid, I would ask that the council move into executive session pursuant to SDCL 1-25-2 sub 3 to discuss contract matters. And I've set this out in the council action request. The intention is to review the appraisal reports, then we'll come back in and make a formal action on the bid.
Sounds good. I would take a motion to move to executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion Northrup, second Johnson. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We'll take a few moments to let the people that don't need to be here for this part of the discussion leave, and then we'll
long legs, you can get that.
Was it nice and noisy out there?
We actually like the music. I give my team credit for the music. I'd like to stay out there.
Didn't it used to be a baseball game?
Yeah, we did have a,
Thought it was.
91 Twins
Yeah.
World Series.
yeah, game 7.
off the Twins.
All the time? Well, every time somebody got shoveled out there and wasn't supposed to hear what was going on, they'd hear the Twins game. Okay. Well, in front of us is our possible acceptance or rejection of a high bid of surplus real property. We had an opportunity to discuss some of the ins and outs in terms of the background of the circumstances and the legalese. I would take a motion from someone on the council whether it is to accept or reject that bid.
Move to reject. Second.
We've got a motion from Councilman Ward and a second from Councilman Johnson to reject the bid. Is there any discussion to be had or any questions or statements that anyone from the council would like to make as it relates to the acceptance or rejection of this bid? Okay. Jordan, would you give us a roll call vote to reject this bid?
Councilmember Ronayne,
Aye.
Foberg,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Norvstrup, Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next, we've got the possible approval of a pay request to Foreman Sales and Service for $30,739.40. No Rich Krokel tonight, so Robin will take over where he left off. Robin, what can you tell us about this purchase?
Rich was in another meeting, so he was not, he just texted me and said, would you present this? This is actually a bus that we ordered a year and a quarter ago, and this is just the request for payment on our part. I think if you take a look, the 80%, the federal government or through the DOT is paying $122,975. We're being asked to cover the other 20%. So we recommend approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilwoman Liebelt and a second from Councilman Ronayne. Any questions as it relates to the bus or the payment? Long time coming, those buses. They've loosened up on the whole chain of supply at this stage in the game. All right, Jordan?
Councilmember Norvstrup,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Foberg,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next, we've got the possible approval of a pay request to Helms and Associates for $2,254, as well as a second payment for $688.05 for the AIP project apron reconstruction, phase number 2. Robin, what do you know about that one?
This is the second phase. The project we expect to be built next year. I think the first one was for providing bidding services, and the second part was for doing the administrative services. I believe you acted on this bid maybe about 3 weeks ago, if I remember right. So construction would be for next year, though. So we recommend approval of those 2 payments to Helms.
Move approval.
Motion Johnson, second Norvstrup. Anyone have anything? Jordan?
Councilmember Norvstrup,
Aye.
Langer, Councilmember Langer,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Foberg,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next, we've got the possible approval of a pay request number 2 in the amount of $221,631.83 to Dami for mill and overlay improvements, as well as a change order of $32,238.60. Stu Nelson, what can you tell us about the payment and change order?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. So the pay request itself is primarily for water work that was done on the project. I'm sure most of you know that the project is actually 99% complete now. So we will be getting another pay request from Domies for the paving portion of this here shortly. The change order work is really primarily for 3 additional inlets, storm sewer inlets that we added to the project. When we did further inspection on these, we found that one of them I know didn't have a bottom in it. Another one was a brick manhole that was not in very good shape. So we decided to replace those as long as we had the curb and gutter and the asphalt surfacing tore up there. So that is, I think in a nutshell, what the request is for.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Ronayne, a second from Councilman Johnson. Any questions? Stu has a bit of a post-mortem on this one. I know this one dragged on quite a bit longer, and those 2 additions probably had something sizable to do about it. Any other learnings from this project? How come this one dragged on the way that it did?
That's a really good question. I think it was a combination of things. I think possibly the contractor underestimated the amount of effort it was going to take to remove the concrete surfacing where we had the water services. I guess I should point out that we had a September 13th completion date on this, which was last Friday. And I think they had it opened up to traffic on Wednesday, so September 11th. So they technically did meet the completion date on it. When we bid these projects, we try to anticipate how long it's going to take. And then in order to secure a more favorable bid from a contractor, we try to be generous with the amount of time that we give them when we set that completion date. And I think in this case, the city was maybe a little bit over optimistic about how long this work would take. And I believe the contractor was maybe a little over optimistic as far as how long they thought the project was going to take. And at the end of the day, it's done. And it's a nice looking stretch of road, and I think it'll be very serviceable for the citizens of Aberdeen for the next 25 years. So in a couple of years, we're probably not going to remember that it took us an extra 3 or 4 weeks to get it done over what we thought it was going to. So I'm hopeful that that's the case anyway.
How about the Klein Street project? How is that one coming along?
Sure. So we are B&B Contracting is doing the dirt work to get ready to bring gravel in. We were going to have the company that does our testing for us come in there either today or tomorrow to check densities, make sure we have densities over top of that big storm sewer trench. And then once we have that and are satisfied with those results, then they'll start bringing gravel in there. They've removed, I think, the concrete north between 8th and 9th, and we'll be removing that surfacing this week, which I anticipate will take them less than a day to do. And they'll start putting utilities in yet this week. So we should be in a pretty good position to be putting concrete in on the south part of the project in, say, less than 2 weeks, and paving to follow that. And then, of course, that north piece, as they make more progress there, then they'll continue to work on that as well. So hopefully they can pave the whole thing all at once. And it's looking good as far as our completion date on that too.
Which was set to what?
I believe it's like October. I don't have it in front of me. I don't have a calendar, but it's like it's like the 22nd or something like that of October. So,
thank you, Stu. Jordan, would you give us a roll call vote?
Councilmember Ronayne.
Aye.
Foberg.
Aye.
Liebelt.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Norvstrup.
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye. Motion carries. Next pay request 3, CWF Masonry, $22,827.44 for our street maintenance concrete repair. Stu, how's that project coming along?
that project's actually been completed for a couple months probably. This is really just to release the retainage on the project and close the project out.
Thank you, Stu. I'd take a motion to pay out CWF the remainder of what we owe them for that.
So moved. Second.
Motion Johnson, second Ward. Jordan, would you give us a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Norvstrup,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next, we've got pay request title number 3 for CWF Masonry as well, $12,294.27, as well as a change order of a negative amount, which is $369.55 for our sidewalk quadrants. I've seen quite a few new ones of those popping up and repairs. Stu, how did that go this summer?
So that project went really well, and it's been done for a while. Here again, the pay request is to release retainage on this project, and the change order you see there is just to adjust to the actual quantities that we installed in the field there. So,
Thank you.
Move to approve.
Second.
We've got a motion, Councilman Ronayne, second Councilman Ward. Any questions? All right, Jordan.
Councilmember Ronayne,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Norvstrup,
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next, we've got the possible approval of acceptance of bids for the 2024-2025 snow removal services. Stu, what can you tell us about those bids? How did they stack up to last year, and how are we looking?
so I think the bids were very comparable to last year. Obviously, slightly more. I think the only place where we're looking at an issue is in the number of wreckers that we have under contract right now. We had one submit a bid. We typically need about 5. Jeremy is working diligently to try and recruit more wreckers because we can probably get by with 4. We did actually increase the amount that we're paying to the wrecker services this year by roughly 20%, and so we're hopeful that we can still recruit a couple to help us with that.
How many total service providers are in the towing industry here in Aberdeen?
I don't know that I could answer that question for you. I think probably about 5.
Yeah, we need a pretty substantial buy-in
So,
in order to make this
yeah.
happen.
It really is.
There are a couple wreckers that are, local garages, whatever, that don't provide those types of services. It's primarily their own, but we have had to go out and try to find those types just to get enough to finish the season out. So it is a big deal because it will slow down our operation if we don't have enough wreckers.
Positive comments back, though, Jeremy's finding?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, so far he has actually contacted a couple, and I know that one of them is committed. So we're 40% of the way.
Sounds good. I'd take a motion to accept those bids.
So moved.
Second.
Motion Johnson, second Liebelt. Any questions? Jordan?
Councilmember Norvstrup,
Aye.
Langer, Councilmember Langer,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye, motion carries. Finally, we've got a review and approval of our claims and payroll. Just the bills this time for this week, of course. I would take a motion to pay the bills.
Move to pay the bills.
Second.
A motion from Councilwoman Liebelt and second from Councilman Ward. Remember, you can abstain from individual items if necessary. Jordan?
Councilmember Ronayne,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Norvstrup,
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next, City Manager's report. Robin, what have you got for us this evening?
I will be brief here. We did have a 25-year presentation in the fire department to Mr. Stacy Verkota. We've done a lot of 25 years in the fire department this last year, or last couple months actually. And congratulations, Stacy. did attend with Shar the 3M 50-year anniversary celebration this past Saturday. And Jordan and I will be traveling to Brookings to attend a council work session with their group on IM 28. The offer's still there if anybody wants to travel with us to listen in on what other cities' thoughts are. It'll be mostly the East River Cities Municipal League and the Retailers Association that will be weighing in on that, as we understand.
Who controls the radio when you two travel together?
We don't know. I don't know that we've traveled together before.
My reviews of exec session were pretty good, so maybe me.
That's true.
Very good, very good. So once again, thank you very much, Stacy, for 25 years of service. Great gentleman, a lot of time invested in our community, making us all safer. And congratulations to 3M as well. And appreciate that commitment of 50 years. That has been an incredible boon for our community. I would take a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Move to approve. No, to approve adjournment. Sorry.
It would have worked. Can I get a second? Second. Motion Liebelt, second Northstrip. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned.